Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy. I'm Dave Kelso, and if you've already heard about the whole Count Dankula incident, hashtag free Dankula, all of that, if you already know what's going on, then this video is for you, because I'm not here to beat a dead horse and go into the whole story again and again and again. There's already like a bajillion and one freaking videos out there that are already doing that. I'm not going to add to that echo chamber. What I would like to do is for those who already have watched all those videos and who already know what's up, I just kind of want to give you my take on what this means for the implications of just the general public, within the UK and within the Western world, and within the world at large. One common problem, there's a lot of common problems that humans have, but one common problem that has allowed us to be a race of people that insist that psychopaths rule over us as we just completely skirt our own personal responsibility, within the blame game and all that. That really is kind of the primary problem. We see it on the individual level. Most, dare I say, all people go through this with at least one personal level narcissist in their lives, whether it's a parent or a sibling or a teacher or a bully at school or, whatever. There has at least been a minimum of one person whom has, been a complete and utter control freak. And, these control freaks, they didn't wake up one morning and think, hey, I'm bored, I'm just going to be a control freak because I got nothing else better to do. Through whatever traumas they've gone through, they have formed a belief system in which, the way they view their reality, they think that in order for them to have a sense of safety and a sense of security, that they need to lord it over, everybody else and dominate everybody else, right? So, this dichotomy then obviously creates the whole victim thing, to where people who are then victimized, they form an identity around that. They identify as that and with that. And they're thinking, oh, I'm the justified victim, and I'm so high and mighty and righteous, and da-di-da-di-da-di-da. So anyway, even as common as this is, most people don't even realize it's going on because it is so subconscious, and it's that dichotomy that has allowed psychopaths to basically run the world and lord it over us, whether you want to call it organized crime or the banksters or the elites or whatever you want to call them. Buzzword doesn't matter. So our oppressive overlords, whatever buzzword you want to use, has obviously seen fit to start making an example out of people. So that's why we're kind of in this whole, free Dankula thing. They're trying to normalize political correctness. And, we've seen this with, the SJWs and, so on and so forth, and just all the crazy in every aspect of everything, the whole YouTube purge. And now YouTube is going to be, making it so that, if you were making tutorial videos about guns or have a gun channel or whatever, as of like April 15th or whatever it is, can't do that anymore. All that'll be taken down. Then I heard they're going to be banning movie trailers and video games too, which is like half their revenue. So that's stupid. They're slitting their own throat. But anyway, all these narcissists that are running things are going batshit crazy. And one thing they're doing with Dankula is, they could have had this whole ruling over with already. The last time they were in court the other day, they could have ruled whatever way. I mean, they've already made up their minds which way they're going to rule, obviously. But no, they want to drag it out another month, thinking, oh, well, Dankula's friends and family and all that, they can suffer. They can, this is going to be their punishment. They have defied the gods, and now, they shall be punished. But what the powers who assume they be don't realize they're actually doing is because most humans, even within the so-called truth movement, are still of that matrix trend mind, and they have basically amnesia, and they forget what just happened and repeat the mistakes of history. When you keep something in limbo, you keep it current, you keep it trendy. So if they had just gotten the ruling over with, then maybe a month from now, everybody would have just forgotten about this, like they always do. Because for now, we have to keep relearning the same lessons over and over and over and over and over again, especially the truth movement, who should know better but doesn't, because they keep needing to relearn the same lessons over and over and over and over and over. But because we're not moving right along in that usual way, and they're keeping this in limbo for a month, it's going to be this building trend for the next month. So I think that's actually a good thing for humanity, and what the elites view as a punishment and making an example out of the naughty person who has dared defy the gods. This is going to be an opportunity for more and more people to wake up and be like, oh my God, you mean like just because something sounds creepy and weird doesn't automatically mean it's a fake conspiracy theory made up by some tinfoil hat nutcase? You mean things that are creepy that I dislike are actually capable of existing? Duh. This isn't a perfect unicorns and fairies world where everything you like is protected by a magical force shield, where if you put up a sign that says gun-free zone, that it's magically going to make criminals go, oh, fuck, man, I was going to commit a crime, but there's a sign over there. Shit, curses, Batman. I have been foiled by the sign. Sorry, the real world doesn't actually work that way. But a lot of people still don't know that the real world doesn't actually work that way. So the more tyranny keeps ramping up, faster, harder. Basically, every human has psychological, emotional, and even physical, biological limitations on how much stress that they can handle within any one period of time. And when that stress level starts to become massively exceeded, the human either rages in resistance against themselves to the point of literal self-destruction, Darwin Award, bye-bye, removal from the gene pool, or they surrender and go, okay, I'm open to new ideas that maybe I wasn't open to before. I'm open to the idea that maybe the world isn't magically protected by pixies and unicorn magic and force shields, and that maybe legislation isn't like this magic wand that kisses all boo-boos and makes everything better, and maybe just putting up a frickin' sign doesn't put up a magical shield against active shooters, and maybe, just maybe, the system of government that says rah rah freedom, rah rah rah, also is not a magical force shield against the tyranny of political correctness, where people can actually go to jail for 6 months to a year because of an Orwellian fucking thought crime, like something straight out of 1984. By the way, just so you know, most people don't realize this, things like 1984, Brave New World, stuff like that, the people who wrote that, they were even bigger geniuses than you think. We think that they were using a fictional idea, a fictional futuristic world, to make a point about a plan that a group of psychopaths has for the future, and they're warning us, hey, don't let this happen. The old saying, 1984 is not an instruction manual, right? It's actually even more genius than that, because you know what else they've been telling us? They've been telling us that the world of 1984 and the world of Brave New World is the way humanity has always done business. That's the matrix that we're surrounded by. That's what the Matrix movies were trying to tell us. That if you think it's something to avoid in the future, the wool has been pulled over your eyes already. You know what I mean? It's the way the world always conducts business. Sure, it always has for thousands of years. Sure, for the movies and for the books, the plot line was futuristic, was projected into the future. I mean, when you base fiction on truth, obviously there's going to be some elements of it that are pure fiction, obviously, but they weren't trying to tell us about some future that some psychos want to create for us. They're trying to tell us about how the world has always been, because remember, there is no greater a slave than the slave who thinks they're free, and that's us. That's this world. The greatest slaves ever, the biggest slaves ever, the ones that think that because there's written on a piece of paper this system of government, and the paper says freedom and liberty, that Constitution gives us our rights. No, it doesn't. It lists the rights that we're born with. But once we think the Constitution gives us our rights, we're immediately slaves. So, these are the sorts of lessons that humanity is learning right now, which is why one thing I always say is, like, I hope the elites do a false flag a day and twice on Sunday, if that's what humanity insists that it needs in order to wake up and realize, hey, the elites haven't, quote unquote, done anything to us. They didn't make humanity fucked up. They are the epitome of humanity's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years long fucked upness. They are the inevitable end result of humanity being fucked up. They are the ultimate intervention, the ultimate wake-up call, the ultimate blinking light on the GPS saying, off course, off course, off course, So we really need to be backed into this precipice, really kind of like the bully in the schoolyard who's going to keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you and pushing you until you decide to fight back. I mean, there have been so many people that have tried the polite, nice way of trying to make these points to humanity and say, hey, we've got some problems. We might want to consider looking at the messes and cleaning them up. But people's reactions have always been, oh my God, it's a social taboo to acknowledge the elephant in the room. You can't admit the mess is there. You're a terrible person. You're a rude person. You're not being socially proper. And then they get ostracized. Oh, they are so horrible, terrible. They violated these social taboos. Oh, they're not trendy. They're not popular. Blah blah blah. So that's kind of how humanity's been. Peer pressure, it's called. That's the common mundane term, right? Peer pressure. Nobody thinks peer pressure is a conspiracy theory. Everybody's experienced peer pressure, right? So yeah. So this whole thing with Dankula. I don't really think that they're going to free him. I mean, they have been this stupid up till now. So I think that no matter how big a fuss the rest of the world makes about it, they're still going to do to Dankula whatever it is they've already decided. I mean, I could be wrong. Hell, I'm not the know-all authority on everything. They could totally surprise me and free Dankula, and I'll be sitting here like, well, I'll be damned. I never saw that one coming. But I really don't think that that's what they're going to do. But I think this whole circumstance is very important for, helping people to wake up and helping people to realize that words on paper are not magical force fields. Ideological systems are not magically don't offer magical protection. Being a Christian or being a Muslim or being a member of the right or a member of the left or a New Ager or an atheist or a truther or blah, 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 blah. It's all fucking virtue signaling. Absolutely all of it. Virtue signaling is not just an SJW thing. It's a human thing. It's all freaking virtue signaling because 99.9% of us don't walk our talk. That is not a condemnation. That's just saying, fire burns and water's wet and rocks are hard. It is what it is. But of course, it can be viewed as a condemnation by a lot of people because, again, the social taboos. Oh my God, he mentioned the elephant in the room, that dirty bastard. And that is why, until humanity wakes up quite a bit more, channels like mine are not going to be very popular. However, that lack of popularity, God willing, let's cross our fingers here, that lack of popularity might possibly keep me off the YouTube algorithm radar so that I don't win a second IMB standing for Illuminati Merit Badge, so that I don't win a second one, because remember, my old channel, this is Paradigm Shift and Educational Comedy version 2.0, my old channel got censorship nuked because at the time, the stuff that I was talking about, humanity was open to it. But now, even the so-called truth movement is so deep into that trendyism, just as deep as SJWs or anybody else is. They're exploring that trendyism, which is okay. I mean, it's a natural process of human evolution. You know, people need to face the darkness and learn how to shine their light in it. So, the truth movement is facing their darkness. Christianity is facing its darkness. Islam is facing its darkness. New Agers are facing its darkness. Everybody's facing their darkness. This is the year of fucking darkness, big time. And we see it. Well, I mean, shit, you know? I mean, look around at everything that's happening. It's dark, and it's going to get way darker and way more intense. But that's just an opportunity to shine. And that's just an opportunity because the elites are going to just be so high on their horse and not paying attention. We can just stick our feet out right as they're walking and let them trip themselves. I mean, you got to kind of look at it like a troll looks at things. Like, you know, if you know that the psychos are going to create chaos for themselves anyway, you may as well have a little fun with it and kind of just do the subtle thing like the globalists do. You know, only against the globalists. You know, do the subtle things so that they're tripping themselves up. Do the things to trigger the globalists into their blind fits of rage so that they make more mistakes, so that they become bigger wake-up call examples for humanity, and so that humanity wakes up quicker and matures faster, you know? I mean, tools are just tools. It's another thing about what the truth movement does. They look at the tools of the globalists and it's like, oh, well, the globalists are using them, so those tools must be evil. No, they're not evil. A hammer isn't evil. You can build a fence or bash someone's skull in with it. Hammer isn't evil. Tools are tools. Start being willing to learn about the tools. Exit this idea that a tool is good or evil, and start realizing that once you know about the tools, okay, there are evil things you can do with the tool, but guess what? There's good things you can do with the tool as well. So this whole Count Dankula situation is definitely, you know, a situational tool that can be used to help, you know, wake more people up. So, you know, people also don't realize that that, you know, they think like, you know, if they're in the United States, oh, well, the UK is so far away. Australia is so far away. All these places are so far away. What happens there doesn't have any implications here. But what happens in any Western country has implications in all Western countries, because as a part of the West goes, so does the entire West go. I mean, you've already got like blasphemy laws starting to pop up in Europe and shit. And now you've got this whole like being able to be convicted of a thought crime in the UK if someone doesn't like your comedy. That is coming to a United States near you, folks. That's not just something that's happening out there that we are safe from. They are going to try that shit here, so be ready for it. It's up to us whether or not that shit flies or not, whether or not we allow that shit or not. If we dive into fear and we bow to it and we silence ourselves and go, oh, we better stop thinking because we don't want to end up in jail for a thought crime, then yeah, the Nazis are going to win and we're screwed. But if we rage against it and we go, no way, we're going to continue to speak up. You don't have enough jails to lock us all up, motherfucker. We're 350 million strong. Yeah, then there's not really much they can do, and they're going to have to cease and desist and rethink a different strategy. Just like all the false flags designed to try to get people to beg for the Second Amendment being taken away, all that's done is every time more guns and ammo and stuff gets purchased. Every time there's a false flag, the sales for all that go up, 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 up. It's bigger than it was the previous time. So yeah, I personally think that that's what's going to happen. Just like the situation with the Second Amendment, it's going to be the same situation with the First Amendment. They try to take the Second Amendment away, it backfires. They try to take it away, it backfires. Try to take it away, it backfires. Now they're starting to explore that with the First Amendment, and it's going to fail. You know, I know it's going to fail. But all of this back and forth between us and them, it's necessary. We need it so that we can wake up to the fact that we've been perpetuating our own cycles of narcissistic dysfunction, and that the elites haven't, quote unquote, done anything to us. They are simply the epitome of the human dysfunction. They are the inevitable end result but we don't have to keep choosing for psychopathic overlords to lord it over us. You can't change what you don't own. So when we all start to own our own problems on the personal level, and we're willing to look at the mess, and we're willing to chill the fuck out, not act like we're three, and ask ourselves, okay, what can we do to clean up this mess? The more we do that on the personal level, and the more of us who do that, the more we're also going to be doing that on the collective level. And the more that happens, the elites don't stand a chance in hell. You know, I think that the long-term inevitable end result is that humanity is going to be fine, and the elites are screwed, because this is all just the natural process of, you know, evolution of a species, and we're definitely on an accelerated upward curve with it. So I think we'll be fine. Is there going to be a lot of suffering and pain and bullshit and so on between then and now? Yeah, sure, of course, but you know, that's all just a part of it. So nobody has to take my word for anything. It will be self-evident as, you know, as time goes on. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. This probably wasn't exactly quite the Count Dankula conversation you were expecting, but that's okay, because here on Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy, we like to go deep into the paradigms of things. All the surface level stuff that everybody is trendy-isming about Dankula, yeah, it's all well and important, but it's all an echo chamber for the most part. Very few people want to go deep into the deeper human implications like we do, because most people are scared to do that, which is why, until more people are not scared to do that, Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy is probably going to remain under 1,000 subscribers for quite some time to come. But that's okay. Even if YouTube were to give us the boot at some point, we're on Daily Motion, we're on BitChute, we're on DTube, we're on DeviantArt. I mean, you know, you can go to paradigm-shifting.deviantart.com, go into the gallery folders, and go under Paradigm Shift in Educational Comedy, and there is a full listing of every frickin' social media platform we're on. So even if YouTube decides to give us the boot, it's like, you know, so the fuck what? A, we'll make a new YouTube channel again, fuck you. And B, it's like we're also on other platforms that aren't trying to censor us. So, you know, who cares? It is what it is. YouTube's going to do what they're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And there you go. So hope you all have a good day. You know, blessings and all that to Count Dankula and his family. It's a crappy situation, I know, but just, you know, be strong and be diligent no matter what happens. Hey, they can only dominate your physical body. Whether or not they dominate your mind, soul, and spirit, that's up to you. So, later.